Liz Wilcox, you are the jelly to my peanut butter when it comes to list growth and email marketing. Welcome back to the podcast and to my YouTube channel because we're going to broadcast this here too. How are you?
I'm doing so great. Two-time guest, feeling on top of the world, feeling special. Can't wait.
I love it. So I just shared just a smidgen about you in the cold open with the listeners, but I would love for you to give them the scoop. Tell us who you are, who you serve. How did you come to build your email marketing membership? Give us a little backstory.
Yeah, so I eat, like Tracy said, peanut butter to jelly. So Tracy's all about list growth, those kinds of strategies. I'm all about once you have them on the list, what the heck do you even say, right? Like that's hard. Just when you thought it was over, there's another obstacle, right? So that's why we work so well together. But I got into this, and how I got so good at the content, the email content, was actually started as an RV travel blogger.
Yeah.
And I just, there was so much to do as a blogger. And I thought, wait, all of this is to get people on the email list to convert them over there. So I was like, I'm just going to cut out all this stuff and grow my list, right? With the awesome things Tracy teaches us. And then I'll just email my people directly. So I got really good at emailing, getting people to click, open, reply, buy, all that jazz. And after a few years, all my blogging buddies, they were like, Liz, you make more money than all of us, but you don't even blog anymore. How are you doing that? And
Ah.
that's, light bulb. That's when I realized, oh, snap. I think I know something you don't. I think I might
Yeah.
actually be good at this. This is what I really should be teaching. So I sold that travel blog. I went all in on email marketing,
Yeah.
and now I'm talking to Miss Tracy Beavers.
I love it. And you have the coolest $9 a month. Yes, y'all heard that right. $9 a month email marketing membership. And for what Liz delivers in that membership, it's worth way more than $9 a month. But I love that she has that price point because she really cares about people being able to access the best content for not $1 million price tag.
Yeah,
I oh
thanks for bringing that up. Tracy did say, "Tell us about your membership."
yeah.
Yeah, I started that a couple like a year or two into teaching email, but I just knew my people. I knew what they needed, and that email content piece is hard. We already mentioned that. We're 5 minutes in. Like, what the heck do you write? And I
Right.
thought, oh, I know what to write. I love talking. I love
Yeah.
connecting. I love people. And
Right.
so, why don't I just write your emails for you? So it's an email template club. It's been $9 since February 2021. I
Love
don't
it.
even think Coca-Cola can brag about having the same price as, back then. So I feel
No.
pretty good about it, and I love my community so much.
Well, and we love you too. All right. I always love to ask for a fun fact from every guest. So, what's something quirky, fun, interesting that people might not know about you?
Fun fact about Liz Wilcox is that I really love to run, and I've run over 50 miles more than one time.
Okay, that's insane. Was there like cash money or jewelry at the end? Because that's the only way my butt's moving over 50 miles.
Just a lot of pride and bragging rights.
Gosh, that is crazy. All right, let's jump into the discussion because I know my listeners are waiting. So for let's talk about this really fast. You and I know the answer, and the listeners and my YouTube audience have probably heard it a million times. But for somebody who is still focused only on building on social media, why does this email list matter now more than ever?
Y'all, now more than ever, like social media is just more media than social, right?
Oh,
Like, we're scrolling, the algorithm is getting better and better at making us disassociate and just keep going, right? And it's honestly, and no shame, it's people like me trying to get your attention, trying to get you to click the link, or, I'm trying to grow followers so I can get a brand deal, so I can churn out brand deal content, right?
right.
And it's no shame in it, but it's just evolved, right? But here's
Mhm.
the thing, email hasn't.
Yeah.
Email has been around since 1979, okay? It ain't going
Wow.
nowhere. I know, right? Electronic mail predates the internet, y'all. I don't know
That's
if you knew
weird.
that.
I
Write
did
it
not know
down.
that.
It is weird, right? Because you think it gets sent over the internet. What?
Yeah.
How? I don't know. I don't get it, but all I know is 1979. Okay, it's look it up. But here's the thing about email, because it hasn't changed and social media is evolving to just be this media piece, we
Mhm.
can now get social in our emails. Tracy's so good
Yes.
at this, connecting with people. You've probably met her in a Facebook group. She can do that in email, and so can you. And it's this place where it's protected. I don't want to use the word sacred, but maybe I will. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going anywhere. It's not changing. And so it's this familiar space, right? Where it's a very active form of communicating, right? When I'm on social, I'm just passively scrolling, you know.
Right.
But when I'm in my inbox, I'm looking for the
Yes.
thing, right? Like, oh, where's
Yeah.
that password? Oh,
Mhm.
Tracy said her group program is open. I wanted to check that out. Let me find that, right? You know, what's Liz up to and her crazy antics today? Let me open that, right? It's a more active way of interacting online. And
Right.
so I'm sharing all this because Tracy said something really important. Now more than ever, we
Mhm.
need that connection piece. We all, I don't know if you feel it, I feel it. We all feel so isolated, right?
Yes,
We
for
sit in,
sure.
especially as entrepreneurs, right? But
Yeah.
everybody, that we just want this connection piece.
Yeah.
And email, on top of you owning it versus owning your social media, can
Mhm.
really be this intimate space where you can connect with the right people
Yes.
and grow those fans that are going to fund your business.
Yeah. I wanna do 2 to touch on 2 things that you mentioned. I love the word sacred because to me, when I land in your inbox, I feel like you've invited me into your living room, and I feel like when you send me an email, you've landed in my living room. And that's not something that I feel when I'm on the big, loud, noisy Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever. And then also, we can have those conversations, human being conversations. The businesses that will succeed in 2026, I will die on this hill, are the ones that will make the time and space to make those human connections and actually ask their audience, what do they want? What can I give you? And just be radically generous like you are in your community. That's one of the things that people love so much about you is everything you do for your members. So let's talk about your email list because I would love to know what has your email list, Liz Wilcox's email list, actually done for your business in terms of income, stability, freedom? I mean, I know the answer, but I want the listeners to
Right.
hear it too.
Y'all, everything. Without email, I wouldn't have a business. I'm not on social selling in the DMs. You know, I don't have a podcast that, you know, is sponsored by dot 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 that's giving me
Right,
tens of thousands of dollars. It's just me and my little email list. And that's the way it's always been. I consider myself
right.
an email first business. All the
Mhm.
rest of it can, you know, go to the wayside unless, you know, I got a hair at my butt and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm like a reel today. Right. And that's what I shared at the beginning of this episode, right? I said, hey, you know, when I was a blogger, I was like, wait a second, all this is for the email list. Let me just do that instead.
Yeah.
And so it's given me everything, y'all, to give you some perspective. Um, you know, when I first started, I think my first year I did a lot of copywriting. So I was
Mhm.
taking clients, and that wasn't very email based. You know, I would get a client or two from this small list that I was building, but mainly it worked on referrals, right? But I knew I wanted to be an email first business. I knew I didn't want that feast or famine of client work. So I kept
Right.
building the list. So that first year, I think I made $89,000, and I think 80,000 of it came from those clients, which
Wow.
let's say 20,000 of it came from the email list, right? So,
Right.
you know, it sounds $20,000 from an email list, like let's go, right? In my first
Right.
year, this is what's possible when you know your offer and who you're talking to. The
Yeah.
next year I made $189,000, right?
Love it.
And I I I can't remember the exact numbers, but I know it was at least half came from the email list, from
Yeah.
digital products and client work. I was still taking client work, but at that
Mhm.
time I mainly was selling via the email list. I had a
Mhm.
page on my site. I'd send it over to people, you know, in the newsletter. Hey, don't forget, I take one on one clients, blah, blah, blah. The year
Yeah.
after that, it was like $360,000, right?
Oh,
And that was the year that I quit client work. $0 came from client work. All of it came from selling to the email list, selling my membership. I had some workshops,
yeah,
courses, the typical online business. But y'all, hear
right.
me, that took 3 years. And
Yeah,
y'all, that took 3 years of crazy dedication. Okay.
right,
It's not enough to just email and then forget about it. You've got to do what
right.
Tracy says. You've got to build that email list. You have to become your own leads growth strategist. Okay. Like you've got to learn from people like Tracy and then go apply it
Yeah,
and, move forward from there. So nowadays, many moons later, quite simply, I won't say easily, right? But quite simply, I make at least $500,000 a year
I
just
love it.
selling my silly little $9 a month membership, right? I don't
Yeah,
have a ton of products nowadays. I don't have an upsell. I don't have an amazing group program like Tracy does, right? It's just my little $9 club. You can join it if you want. $500,000 and the email list, because I know that's what you're thinking. Well, you must have an email list of hundreds of thousands.
yeah.
No, my email list today, at the time of this recording, about 13,000 people.
I love that. I love it. That because I also I'm not into vanity metrics either. I don't care if I have 100,000 people following me on Instagram if they're not on my list. And I also don't expect to have a gazillion people on my list to have a great business. So I love that you shared that because that's real. It's real numbers. Tell us what are some of your favorite ways that you've grown your list to 13,000 because that is work. It takes time and it takes intention. But my audience is always like, how do I find people? How do I get them on my list? What are your favorite ways, Liz?
I've got two ways that I very consistently show up and grow up in the email list. Number one, doing things like this, going on podcasts, private summits, private trainings and groups, things like that, virtual speaking, we'll call it, right? I
Mm.
love doing that because I know I have a message. I know it's strong. And y'all, if you Google me, you can find some old podcasts. I'm a little rusty, but I'm saying the same things, right?
Yeah.
And so I know that there's more and more, always more people that need to hear my message. And
Mhm.
I geek out over electronic mail so I don't get bored talking about this kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And then the second way is freebie swaps.
Love
Super
it.
simple, extremely low lift. Hey, Tracy, do you have a freebie? I can share it to my list if you share mine to yours. Again,
Right.
incredibly simple. I did two just last week and I got almost 400 leads from those two
Love
low
it.
lift things. And for me, it was two people, so I just put them in one email
Yeah.
and they both replied that they got hundreds of leads as well.
Nice.
So this year in 2026, I've gotten at least 1,000 new leads just in the last 90 days from doing freebie swaps. So super low lift, lower lift than the 40 minutes it takes Tracy and I to record this, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
hey, here's my collab folder. Oh, what day are you going to send? Okay, I can send the day before. Okay, sounds good. Report back. It's wicked simple.
Yeah, it really is. Is there a place that is there a directory that you go to find freebie swaps, or is it just as you're meeting cool people?
Yeah, I think it's both. I love to meet cool people, and of course, it might be a little simpler for me because I'm very meta, right? I get other business owners on my list, but when I was a travel blogger, I would go into Facebook groups where other travel bloggers were, or even just travelers, and I'd say, hey, does anybody have a blog you want to grow together, right? So
Nice.
just not being afraid, and Tracy teaches this so well, not being afraid to put yourself out there and be
Mhm.
genuine in your interactions is going to get you really, really far. And there's another place, and Tracy, I got to add you to this monetization mastermind. It's with a guy named John. He's got a little school thing. It's free to
Cool.
join. And I have found so many people this year with
Nice.
great lists to collaborate with. So it's all about just putting the offer. I found that because I emailed my list and I said, hey, I'm looking for more of this. Do you know
Yeah.
where I can go? And they reached out to me. So just putting it out there is going to be great. And again, if you're not B2B, you can still do this with your email list, because chances are there are people that are following you that are doing similar things to you, or
Yeah.
they say, "Oh, I follow so and so over there. You should connect with them. Let me email them for you." Right?
Mhm.
That kind of stuff happens all the time.
Right. Okay. So we've convinced everybody to get growing on the email list. We've given them some great tips on how to grow it. Let's talk about the big question for people who say, but I don't know what to write. What do you
Oh,
actually send your email list on a regular basis?
okay, so to get, let's move away from practical and just talk about like what your reader needs to hear,
Yeah.
so that no matter what you're writing about that week, they're going to open. Number
Yeah.
one, they need to know that you are invested in them.
Yeah.
Okay. Invest in them. Say, "Oh, I just spent an hour learning about email marketing. I, got a new keyboard. I got a new laptop." All of those things are investments to
Right.
write better emails, right? And you might be thinking, "Oh, well, I blog about sewing." Nobody cares. Yes, they do, baby. The same way they care about what new needles you have for your knitting project, they
Right.
care if you are writing them emails if you got a new computer, right? It's just
For
exciting,
sure.
it's just interesting.
Yeah.
So show that you're invested in them, and they will invest back into you. Number two, become relatable. So write things, and a lot of people will tell you to tell stories. I'm not one of
Right.
those people, but little personal updates that are relatable. Like right now, I'm recording this podcast episode. I'm fostering a dog. I can see the dog outside my window.
Oh,
She's supposed
oh,
to be in the backyard. So
oh
I have
gosh.
no idea how she got out. She'll be fine. She's laying in the yard.
Oh no.
She knows she gets fed here, so she's not going anywhere. But
Oh,
how
sorry.
relatable is that you're trying to do something and you see an
Yeah.
emergency, but you can't do anything about it right now because
Right.
you're recording live, right? So
Exactly.
that's relatable, just that emergency, right? Even if
Yes.
you don't have a dog, this exact situation hasn't happened to you. It's
Right.
incredibly relatable, right? So again, we talked
Yeah.
about showing you're invested, being relatable with short personal updates. You
Mhm.
can also, I'm very pop culture. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Childish Gambino, Fresh
Yeah.
Prince,
Yeah.
NSYNC, Steve Martin, Survivor in the back. I love pop culture. That's a way to relate to people, because some people
Mm.
might say, "Oh my gosh, I love NSYNC." Other people might say like, "Oh, is that Childish Gambino? I didn't know you listened to him," right? Everyone's going to relate in a different way.
Yes.
So bringing pop culture or food, beverages into your mix is really, really good.
Yeah.
So as far as what to write, let's break all that down. So
Okay.
number one, greeting. "Hey Tracy, hey Liz, hey Bandy, who's outside, who's supposed to be
Right.
inside," right? Talking to the dog. And then that short personal update.
Uh-huh.
"Oh my gosh, I sat down to write you, but I saw my dog was outside, so I got distracted. This was supposed to be sent out 20 minutes ago, but I had to chase her down the road." That's incredibly relatable. Just a short, y'all, that is the shortest of short stories. I didn't have to
Right.
give you my dog's name, I didn't show you a picture, but it's, again, we're relating, and then just
Mhm.
segue into the content.
Right.
Anyway, enough about my foster dog. What I really needed to share is this new podcast episode with Liz Wilcox on how to write a newsletter
Mhm.
faster.
Yeah.
Skip to the 17-minute mark where she starts talking about her own foster dog, right?
Right.
Whatever,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so we just wrote that newsletter in a few seconds, right? It
Mhm.
really shouldn't be that hard. Again, greeting, that personal update that shows you're invested in them or makes you more relatable, and then
Right.
just segue into the content that you built specifically for them.
Yeah, I love that. I love the relatable piece. My listeners know that I got a bird feeder, Bird Buddy camera for Christmas, and it has been the highlight of my life. I'm a bird watcher now. I know their songs, I know what they look like. My husband got me a brochure of birds of Arkansas. It's ridiculous. But I'll talk about the bird feeder camera and this squirrel that is raiding all the sunflower seeds out of it. And hopefully my audience likes it, but it does definitely make me relatable. Um, what are some things that people are not doing after somebody joins their list that's actually costing them sales?
Well, in general, you don't have a proper week welcome sequence, okay? When somebody joins your email list, you need to properly welcome them, right? The same
Yeah.
way Tracy at the top of this episode, she said, "Hey, today we're going to talk about Liz or talk to Liz Wilcox. We
Yeah.
share A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, let's get into the show," right?
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
need to set expectations for our subscribers. This is something that I don't see a lot of people doing. Tell them exactly, hey, now that you're on this list, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to email you on this day. I'm
Yeah.
going to send, excuse me, I'm going to send you free and paid products. I'm going to offer you X and Y kind of tips, right? I'm going to go live over on my Facebook page every Tuesday, whatever's
Mhm.
true, right? Set those expectations.
Love it. Love that. And you helped me carve out my welcome sequence. And I'm very thankful for that because mine stunk. For a long time, I didn't have one. Then it was just really stinky. But it's improved. And I love that. And thank you for that. All right. My listeners want to know a couple of things. Um, does the length of the email matter? Does the day or time you send it actually matter anymore? And then I'm hearing a lot of people get really hung up on the open rate, the click rate. Like, what's important? Is it length? Is it day and time? What metrics? Like, how do we know this is working?
We're going to go back to 5 minutes ago. We know it's working when our subscriber knows we're invested and knows we're relatable. Okay,
Right.
so how does that translate to what Tracy just asked? Does the length matter? Yeah, sure. We don't want big, long novels every single email unless you're a novelist and people
Yeah.
just can't get enough, right? If you're Stephen King or aspiring, right, and
Right.
your people gobble up every single word, then here's your permission slip, right?
Right.
Write those lengthy emails. But for the vast majority of us, and I say it with love, your people don't care. They don't care. That's why I said short personal update, segue into the
Right.
content, right?
Right.
But we do want to vary the length. If our emails are always 100 words, that might
Mm-hmm.
get boring. It might get predictable, right? So maybe it's 100 words for a few times and then we up 400, then 200, back to 100, 500. But there's no specific formula. Me saying
Mm-hmm.
don't pause this and go to your desk and write down what I just said, right?
Right.
Just know that you need to vary your content. That is important. As far as day and time, the best day and time is the day you get your butt in the seat and the timestamp on your clock, okay?
Right.
Just start writing. Of
Yeah.
course, you can optimize, but you can't optimize from nothing. You have to
True.
start, my love.
Yeah.
You have to start. I'm getting fired up now, Tracy. We can't optimize zero, right?
Right.
We learned
Right.
that in like fifth grade. You can't multiply zero, you can't divide by zero, right? You
Yeah.
cannot optimize zero, so just get writing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Love
then
it.
as far as opens, clicks, whatever you've got going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
how can you get 1% better, right?
Oh,
Every email we're just, right? Because we're not optimizing from zero anymore. We're sending those
right.
emails. So
Right.
if we've got an email 36.2% open rate. I wonder if the next email I could get a 37%
Yeah.
open rate, right? Gamify it for yourself. Ooh, yes, fun, right? What can I do? Is the subject line, was that too short, too long? And you're going to have to experiment. And the more you
Right.
experiment, the more by experiment, I mean send emails. The more
Yes.
emails you send, the more you're going to say, oh, yeah, I do think that subject line was too long. The
Right.
next one I'm going to make sure is only 3 words, not
Right.
6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or oh, well, I think this was a lower open rate because the last email I sent actually was kind of boring or,
Ah.
was too long, right?
Yeah.
So why would they open this email if that one was too long or not
Right.
relevant, right? So you've got to dissect your emails like that in order to get the opens and clicks up. But again, how can
Right.
you just get 1% better or zero point 0.1, right? Because the ESP is going to give you 36.2%.
Yes.
2.3% click rate. How can you
Right.
go from 2.3 to 2.5,
Yeah.
2.7, 3.0, right? And from there. So that's what is really, really important. Just knowing
Mhm.
to make those marginal differences to
Mhm.
start to see that upward creep.
Mhm. Those small differences are what compound over time, and I love the way you broke that down because that is not overwhelming at all for me to look at 36.2 and say, "Okay, Tracy Beavers, let's aim for 37.2," instead of putting pressure on myself of, "Let's aim for 45%." And then when I don't hit 45%, like in the next email, then I'm mad. And so instead, I'm taking it in bite-sized chunks. I love that. That's amazing. That's so doable. Okay, one of the things that you and I have been talking about recently, because you have a summit coming up, is getting our subscribers to reply to us. It helps, my understanding is it helps deliverability overall. And also, what I love about it is what we were talking about earlier, that human connection. So, what are a couple of fun ways you've gotten people to reply back to you, Liz?
Oh my gosh. I love getting replies. It's so, so fun. And yes, it's great for deliverability, but it's also great for turning one to many into one on one, right? It's not about
Yeah.
closing the deal, it's about opening up a conversation, right? And so, some fun ways I've gotten replies are honestly replies that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about, right? My
Yeah.
industry is email marketing. So, I might say, which do you prefer, the beach or mountains? Hit
Right.
reply,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just again about opening the conversation. So if
Mhm.
Tracy emails me back and says, "Oh, I'm totally a mountains girly," I can reply back, "Oh, wow, I prefer the beach, but I totally get the mountains."
Yeah.
Dot dot dot. By the way, comma, if you ever need help with your email marketing, know that I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I've got a podcast, a blog, and you can always just hit reply, right? You're just opening the conversation, right?
Yes.
Reminding them why they're on the list. It's fun to be on the list because we're talking beach or mountains, but
Hmm.
when it comes to brass tacks, I can actually help you over here, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a really fun way to get replies. Also, inside email marketing membership, I don't know if I will ever do better than this template. It was one of the first templates, so it stays in the membership, right? But it's called Pick a Number.
Uh-huh.
And Tracy, have you ever used this one?
I haven't, but I've seen it, and I
Oh
need.
yeah, people use it all the time because it's my absolute favorite inside the membership. So
Uh-huh.
this is especially great. Number one, if you are, you just feel like your list is dead or there's nothing you can do to get
Yeah.
them to reply. And also, if you're a service provider, this is really, really good. And so
Nice.
it's pick a number and it's like, hey, I'm thinking of a number 1 to 50, 1 to 100, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Anybody that replies back with the right number is going to win a prize. Now you get to pick the prize, right? Especially if you're a service provider, it could be a one-on-one, it
Yeah.
could be, a 20, 25-minute audit, like whatever you would normally charge for, but maybe some people are a little hesitant to purchase is kind
Right.
of what you would want to give away, right? But here's the beauty. Number one, nobody ever guesses it, right? 1 to 50, like you got 50, those are terrible odds to guess, right? Especially if you do 1 to 100. But you're getting so many. So that means you can,
Right.
for service, I mentioned that because service providers, you might be thinking, I can't give away 100 of those. It's like, well, nobody's going to actually guess, sweetheart. Don't
Right.
stress.
Right.
And if they do, then you get on the call. But here's the thing, you
Yeah.
can also pick who you want to get on a call with. If
Yeah.
there's somebody that replies back, like I'm hearing from Tracy, I'm hearing from Shahara, she's emailed me a few times, but we've never gotten to the book button, right?
Right.
And she could guess 7 and my number was 58,
Yeah.
right? And I could say, hey, your number is 7, but I know we've been talking a lot. I want to just give this to you anyway. Oh my gosh. Today, right?
Yeah.
Like you are now a superhero.
Yes.
You are now like the creme de la creme
Yes.
inside their inbox, right? And they're going to hop on that call. It's not going to be a no call, no
Right.
show, right?
Right.
You are
Right.
giving them a gift. They are excited about it, right? And so I just love this pick a number for that reason. And of course, you can
Yeah.
use this if you're e-commerce, if you're digital products. I've used it before and I was like, oh, you get a free month into my membership. I was
Mhm.
giving away those left and right.
I
Okay, like here's the link, here's the coupon, here's the link,
love
here's the coupon, right? Because it's long-term strategy,
it.
right?
Mhm.
It's
It
if I
is.
can get more people in and they're feeling
Mhm.
good, They're feeling
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm getting the deal of this. I didn't even get the number right. But
Right.
I'm in, baby, because Liz
Right.
loves me. And I do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's win-win. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love those are some really fun ways to get replies.
Love that. That's so exciting. All right. I know we have only a few more minutes left. I want to ask you this just for fun question.
Okay.
If you could tell your younger self one thing about business, what would it be?
One thing about business to my younger self is that it's not for them, it's for you. Right? When
Mm,
I was growing up, anybody who was, y'all, I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant when I started my blog. I literally had to Google it. I literally had to Google it. I'm
let
not
alone
ashamed
spell
to
it.
admit that.
We don't even know how to
Right?
spell it.
Right. 10 years ago, I was like, entrepreneur, I think I know what that is, but let me Google it. Okay. So I wish I would have, or if I could tell myself something, it would be like, this is not a them situation, Liz. This is a you situation. This is for you. You can do this.
Mhm.
Entrepreneur means owning a business, starting
Yeah.
a company, and it is for you, baby, because you are creative, you
Yes.
can write, and you are great at problem solving. And that's
Mhm.
what it takes to make it in this business, email marketing and beyond. And baby, that's you all day.
Yeah. I love that. Baby, that
And
is
you
you all.
listening.
Yeah.
Yes, baby, that is you all day.
Yes. I love it. Liz, I always love the time we get to spend together. And I know that my listeners who are not in your email marketing membership are going to want to jump in. So I put my affiliate link into the show notes for that for them. Do you want to share? We talked about it has templates, but you also have monthly. Is it monthly live Q and A's or is it quarterly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
and those are
So
super valuable.
yes. Oh my gosh. If you just come for the Q&A, which I call the big sender circle, right? So when you join, you become a big sender, right? Because we don't overthink email, we do not ghost our list, and we just hit send. So when
Yeah.
you join with Tracy's affiliate link, you are going to become a big sender, which means you're going to send emails out every single week because I'm
Yep.
sending you a template. You're going to show up to the big sender circles where you're going to ask me any questions. You can get the feel for other people can help you out too. It's a really super interactive community. We
It
also do
is.
quarterly guest experts where we come in and bring in other aspects of business to help you out, which is
Yeah.
insane because it's
Dollars.
$9. You get
I
all that
know.
for $9. And on top of the weekly newsletter templates, you also get sales email templates,
Yeah.
pre-launch templates, welcome sequence templates, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Y'all go grab this before she comes to her senses and raises the price. Oh my gosh.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're so welcome. All right, my friends, if you are ready to grow your email list and attract consistent clients without relying on paid ads, you know, that's my jam. And I have developed a weekly newsletter that I think is pretty fun. It's got practical visibility strategies, but not boring marketing stuff, and simple list building ideas, real world stuff, the behind the scenes of my business. And sometimes I talk about my dog and my bird feeder camera, but I'd love for you to come and join me in the inbox. Go to tracybeavers.biz/newsletter and plan to jump in and join me. Liz, anything else you want to share before we land the plane?
I just can't wait to see what people do with email.
Yes, I know. Me too. I hope that they have taken to heart what you and I have both been sharing about the importance of having that list so you can have those conversations, being in the living room of your client, nurturing them, showing them how much you really care because we really do. And I think you do a beautiful job of that.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and before I forget, where can everybody find you to connect with you?
Oh, yeah, of course. I know Tracy's going to put the link for the membership in the show notes, but if you just want to get some samples, you want to get going on that welcome sequence we talked about, you can go directly to lizwilcox.com, hit the hot pink button in the top right hand corner. It's going to give you a welcome sequence already written for you, 3 newsletter samples from that $9 membership, and 52 subject lines for a year full of prompts.
I love it. All right, my friends, you hear me say this every single week. Don't go it alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody's buying what you're selling, and other days you feel like nobody can even remember or spell your name. And if you think you're alone, you're not. You need to get into a community of support. Liz has an awesome free Facebook group called the Email Sound Booth. Go join it, meet me there, tag me in the group, and tell me you're there. Come join my free Facebook group, Be a Confident Entrepreneur. But just don't sit in your house not knowing what to do or say or think, because there are communities that will support you in ways you could never imagine. And the links for everything will be in the show notes waiting for you. Have a great balance of the week and weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have got to keep cheering each other on. Liz, thanks again.